Listen closely, chosen one, because what I'm about to say will either shake you awake or set your bones on fire with a courage you forgot you had. A day is coming, sooner than your doubters can whisper another rumor, when everything that can be taken will be tested. The savings you guarded, the relationships you held carefully like glass, the titles you wore like a shield, even the voice you used to pray. And yet, there is a deeper question tucked beneath the rubble of all of that. If you lost everything, would you still worship God? Not the God of convenience, not the God you visit when the bills are paid and the notifications are quiet, but the living God who stood with you when you were small and afraid and unnoticed. I'm not asking this to accuse you. I'm asking this to awaken the royal blood in you, because you are not ordinary, you are set apart. You are the one heaven keeps reaching for in crowded rooms. You are the chosen one. I know the rooms you've walked through, the parties where your laughter felt a half-second late and your kindness sounded like a foreign language to people fluent in competition. I know what it's like to be praised in public but questioned in private, to be the person everyone borrows confidence from while quietly doubting if you have any left for yourself. The betrayals didn't always look dramatic. Sometimes they arrived with polite smiles and careful wording, 1,000 paper cuts disguised as professionalism. You've had your name carried into conversations you weren't invited to, and by the time the story came back to you, it had grown claws. You learned to forgive without receiving apologies. You learned to keep building while someone you trusted pocketed the blueprints. But even in that, there was a sacred arithmetic at work. Heaven was subtracting what could not go with you, so that the weight you carry now is pure assignment, not the clutter of everyone else's expectations. The pain was not pointless. It was a lock picking your heart open so that what God planted long ago could finally breathe. Yes, there were nights you stared at the ceiling and wondered if you'd mistaken persistence for calling, if maybe the dream was just outgrowing your capacity, and your faith was a coat from another season. But then the smallest things began to glimmer again. A stranger's kindness in a checkout line, a song lyric you'd heard 100 times that suddenly felt like a message with your name on it. The way morning light unfurled across your table like a promise instead of an accident. None of that was accidental. It was heaven sending you breadcrumbs in a forest of noise. You see, the enemy never wastes his premium ammunition on background characters. He does not organize a smear campaign against someone with no future. The level of warfare around your life is a measurement tool. It reveals your magnitude. And if it felt like the hits came in quick succession, health scare, financial strain, family tension, then one more blow right where you thought you were safe, that's because the darkness panicked when it glimpsed your timeline. There is a window right now where your obedience will touch more people than your comfort ever could. The enemy knows this. That's why the attacks tried to make you interpret God's silence as absence and your waiting as abandonment. But silence was not absence. Silence was the sound of heaven sharpening the sword of your voice. Let's tell the truth. There were moments you felt foolish for still praying. You tried to manage your expectations, ration your hope, pretend the dream didn't matter so that it couldn't hurt you anymore. You told yourself you were being practical, mature, realistic, but your heart never truly bought that story, did it? No matter how carefully you folded your faith, it kept unfolding when you weren't looking. It's because your spirit remembers something your mind keeps forgetting. Before time learned to count, you were spoken about. Your life is not a random collision of accidents. It is a sentence God is still speaking. And when you worship in the middle of loss, when your hands are empty but your mouth still calls him faithful, you aren't performing for approval. You are aligning with the original sentence, the one older than grief, truer than shame. The question, would you still worship, isn't an exam you pass or fail. It's a doorway. If your heart trembles as you answer, then you're closer than you think. Worship is not the denial of reality. It is the insistence that reality must bow to a deeper order. You can acknowledge the bank account, the diagnosis, the argument, the rejection, and still lift your gaze and declare that goodness and mercy are not moods. They are your entourage. Worship in loss is the most rebellious thing you will ever do because it refuses to let darkness set the narrative. It says, "I've read too many endings to be intimidated by the middle." I'm talking to you, the one who had to become the responsible one too early, who made spreadsheets to survive when you wanted to write songs, who carried other people's storms while pretending you were just good at multitasking. I'm calling your real name, the one hidden inside, the one you introduced to strangers. You are the child who never stopped watching the door for a sign, the leader who didn't ask to lead but kept stepping forward because silence felt like betrayal of your own gift. You are allowed to feel tired. You are not allowed to call yourself finished. Your story isn't descending, it's distilling. Everything extraneous is burning off. What will remain is precious, focused, dangerous to darkness. And yes, the losses are real. Some losses you can measure in numbers, others in the ache of a chair that stays empty at family dinners, or the way your body holds memories in the tightness of your chest. Grief isn't faithlessness, it's proof that your heart loved in a world that breaks easily. God sees all of it. He does not run from your questions, He meets you inside them. The God who asked Job questions until the universe felt intimate is still near enough to hear you whisper, "Why now?" There are answers you will get in time and answers that will only make sense when you're busy living the redemption they produced. But there is one answer you can borrow today. You were never meant to be sustained by outcomes. You were designed to be sustained by presence. If you lost everything, would you still worship? It's not a threat. It's an invitation to remember that your worth was never the sum of what you managed to keep. You can lose the house and discover home. You can lose the job and discover vocation. You can lose the nods of people who will change their opinion next week and discover the unedited smile of God who never needed a memo to love you. You can stand in a room that echoes with empty and feel more held than you did when your calendar was full. Because worship relocates you from scarcity to kingdom, and in the kingdom, nothing truly aligned with your mission can be stolen. It can only be pruned to grow back wilder. So breathe. Shake the dust from your shoulders, place every shattered piece on the altar, and say what you can, even if all you can say today is, "I still believe you are good." That sentence is a key. It does not magically reorder your circumstances, but it reorders you, and when you are reordered, circumstances lose their power to name you. Your tears do not disqualify your praise, they baptize it. You are not behind schedule. You are being escorted, yes, escorted, through a corridor where false attachments are falling away, where your identity is being anchored in something unstealable. The doors that matter will open because you carry a name on your life that darkness cannot counterfeit. You are the chosen one, and heaven has been preparing a table in the presence of your enemies, not to taunt them, but to remind you scarcity is not your language, loss is not your label, and worship is how you keep your inheritance in sight when the world tries to hide it. Now look at your hands, even if they feel empty, and notice that they are still here. Place them over your heart and tell the truth out loud. I am not forsaken. I am not average. I am anointed for this. Watch the room shift when you say it. Watch the fear shrink when you breathe. What you've survived did not shrink you. It refined you. And the God who walked you to this threshold is the same God who will walk you through it. When you look back without flinching, you can see the battlefield stretched behind you like a map, not of places, but of seasons that tried to break your voice. You remember how the first arrows arrived disguised as compliments that circled like vultures, how the next wave came as sudden expenses that devoured your margins, how sickness prowled like a fog and arguments spread like brushfire through the people you thought were safe. You fought with tools no one else could see, midnight prayers that sounded like gravel, breaths counted slowly to keep your heart from sprinting off the cliff, a stubborn gratitude that refused to surrender the daylight even when the morning felt late. You learned to armor your spirit before you dressed your body. You learned to lace your shoes with scriptures and to walk through rooms with the quiet authority of someone who knows they are carried. There were battles that made noise, slammed doors, bank statements, diagnoses, yet the most dangerous ones were silent. In the silent wars, you woke up to a heaviness that didn't match the weather, a narrative whispering, "What's the point?" You fought those with a discipline that looked unimpressive from the outside. You washed the dish even when it was the only dish in the sink. You answered messages with kindness when cynicism would have been easier. You kept the appointment you made with your future self and showed up to the work no one applauds. Drafting, rehearsing, rethinking, repenting, forgiving again. Heaven counted every unremarkable act of faithfulness and stacked them like stones until they formed an altar. The world saw monotony, God saw militancy. People thought you were soft because you preferred mercy to spectacle. They mistook your restraint for fear, your patience for passivity, your humility for ignorance. But restraint is strength with a leash. Patience is power that knows its hour. Humility is wisdom refusing to brag before the finish line. You carried storms like lanterns and refused to throw them at anyone just to prove you'd been out in the weather. That's spiritual strength. Not the roar, but the refusal to use the roar to humiliate. You could have clapped back with receipts. You could have exposed the conversations that slandered you by name. Instead, you let God be your PR department and chose to keep your hands clean so your harvest wouldn't taste like smoke. There were days the ground shook under you, contracts that looked guaranteed dissolved in email dust. A project you poured prayer into stalled so completely that people stopped asking about it in case they embarrassed you. You took the hint and the silence became another classroom. You sat with the disappointment long enough to hear the instruction inside it. Shift the strategy, not the calling. Change the container, not the river. Build the long road when the shortcut closes. While others demanded closure, you asked for clarity. You stopped confusing applause with confirmation. You let certain rooms go and discovered that your oxygen returned not because the rooms were evil, but because your assignment had outgrown their ceilings. Every tear was logged. Every sigh was heard. God saw the decisions you made when no one was filming, choosing decency over drama, choosing to finish the job without demanding a parade, choosing to bless the person who secretly hoped you would fail so they could feel safer about quitting their own dream. God saw the invoices that didn't get paid on time and the creativity you used to keep your promise anyway. He saw the way you straightened your posture before answering the phone so your voice would sound like hope. He saw the night you opened the window to let the cold air touch your face because you felt numb and needed your senses back. He saw you put worship music on low volume and braid your fear into prayer. He saw you forgive the apology that never arrived, so your heart would stay light enough to keep moving. And while God watched, the adversaries watched too. They took notes on your weaknesses, built stories around your delays, misinterpreted your waiting as withdrawal. They thought the valley was your permanent address. But there is a tremor running beneath their confidence now. They feel it without understanding it, the way people feel the bass of an approaching parade before they hear the trumpets. Something in them remembers how God writes plot twists, how he pulls curtains back exactly when spectators get bored enough to check their phones. Your rise won't require their permission. It only requires your agreement. They will call it sudden because they didn't see the scaffolding of faithfulness you built in the dark. They will call it luck because they don't speak the language of preparation. You can sense the atmosphere turning. The same corridors that echoed with closed doors are starting to smell like fresh paint. You're noticing strategies you couldn't see when your heart was frantic. You're remembering ideas you wrote down 3 winters ago and realizing they were never dead, just waiting for the ground to thaw. Your discernment is sharper. You can tell the difference between flattery and favor now. You can hear the difference between a person who wants proximity and a person who wants partnership. This is spiritual muscle memory. Having been stretched, you move with grace under weight that would have crushed the earlier version of you. Your strength isn't loud because it doesn't need to be. Think of a tree that survived a storm. It doesn't shout its survival. It deepens its roots. That's you. Every time you refuse to let bitterness colonize your vocabulary, your roots went deeper. Each decision to step away from pointless arguments, to take the high road no one photographs, to bless your enemies by not becoming them, those were reps in heaven's gym. You didn't perform strength, you acquired it. Now, when you enter rooms, your peace takes up space. People can't articulate it, but they feel steadier near you. And steadiness is intimidating to those whose power depends on chaos. Do you realize how unusual your endurance is? In a culture addicted to outrage, you chose endurance. In a market obsessed with speed, you chose mastery. In a season that rewarded scandal, you chose integrity. If the enemy were rational, he would have retreated months ago. But darkness is stubborn, and it often overplays its hand. The recent barrage was not proof that you're failing. It was proof that you're nearly through. The closer you are to daylight, the more frantic the night becomes. Your adversaries sense that the narrative is slipping from their grip. Their whispers are getting louder because their influence is getting smaller. They remember the times you rose before, and something in their bones knows they are about to witness it again. This time with witnesses, this time with receipts from heaven. Do not despise how long it has taken. Time has been your tailor, cutting away what didn't fit your calling. There were ambitions that felt noble but were secretly trying to lure you into rooms you would have had to maintain with compromise. There were relationships that looked like destiny but were actually detours with good lighting. God spared you from what looked like acceleration so that your soul could keep pace with your visibility. He watched your steps and counted them not to exhaust you, but to build a rhythm resistant to manipulation. You cannot be bribed with attention now. You cannot be panicked by scarcity. You recognize the scent of genuine opportunity, and you're not allergic to small beginnings anymore because you've learned how quickly faithful seeds become forests. This is why the ground is trembling under your adversaries. They understand tactics, but they don't understand timing, and timing belongs to your Father. He watched you surrender outcomes you could have tried to force. He watched you forgive debt you could have legally collected. He watched you go back to the drawing board without bitterness and build again from the blueprint. He whispered at 3 a.m. That level of surrender is terrifying to darkness because surrendered people can't be bought, and they can't be bullied. Surrender is not weakness, it is the posture of unstoppable people. You have become unbribable. You have become unblackmailable. You have become a problem for powers that rely on fear. Stand in this truth. Until your shoulders remember, you did not survive by accident. You survived by alignment. The God who saw every hidden yes is placing a lamp at your feet again, bright enough for the next step, which is all you need. The wind has shifted. The tables are rattling. The same mouths that said never will soon have to learn the word nevertheless. And when you walk past those who predicted your collapse, don't gloat. Let your stride preach the sermon. The battle was real. The wounds were real. The God who sustained me is more real than both. Your ascent is not a spectacle. It is a testimony. Keep moving. The earth itself seems to lean toward you, as if creation recognizes a son or daughter standing up straight after a long night and is eager to witness what happens when royalty finally remembers who they are. Justice is not a rumor in heaven, it is a schedule. And I need you to hear me with the clarity of a bell at dawn. God is about to make certain things public, not to humiliate anyone, but to heal the narrative that has been twisted around your name. Truth has a frequency, and when heaven turns the volume up, even people who prefer gossip to facts will feel their appetite changing. You have lived long enough under speculation. Now the author is stepping onto the stage of your story, not as a distant narrator, but as a living judge who loves mercy and still demands accuracy. The same God who wrote on Belshazzar's wall can write across the timeline of your life, and when he writes, interpretation becomes unnecessary. Windows will open, records will surface, motives will reveal themselves without your hands on the curtain. Your job is not to manage the unveiling. Your job is to remain pure enough to carry what comes after the unveiling. I know you're tired of waiting for vindication. You've wondered if defending yourself would be wiser stewardship than silence, but you chose the path of restraint, and heaven recorded it. Public justice is arriving not because you shouted louder, but because God decided the time for whispering is over. There are conversations you were excluded from that are about to turn into invitations. There are rooms where your name was used to score points that will soon require your presence to restore order. The people who benefited from misrepresenting you will not be shamed. They will be confronted by truth so evident that repentance becomes the only dignified response. And if some refuse repentance, that will be its own revelation. You won't have to point. God will make the lines glow. This is the great reversal. What looked like a loss was actually leverage. What looked like delay was incubation. What looked like exile was root optimization. The last few seasons were a hidden exchange, where God traded your need for validation for a mantle of authority. Now authority will do the talking. Watch how tables turn when authority enters. Clients who ghosted you will circle back with better terms. Opportunities that mocked your patience will arrive dressed in urgency. Relationships that treated your kindness like a discount will start valuing your boundaries as premium. You are not becoming haughty, you are becoming aligned. The kingdom does not apologize for honoring what God honors. Let me speak to your nervous system, because justice can feel as overwhelming as injustice if you're used to survival mode. Breathe, place a hand on your chest again, and remember that your body has carried you through storms you didn't announce. You can trust it to carry you through celebration without sabotaging it. There is a quiet skill to receiving good news when you've lived with alarms. Practice now. Say, "It is safe to win. It is safe to be seen. It is safe to keep my heart soft while my spine stays strong." You are not obligated to shrink so others feel comfortable around your calling. Your softness is not up for negotiation, and neither is your stature. The two can coexist, gentle and immovable, tender and thunder. Healing flows in strange directions when justice appears. You will find closure not by revisiting every hurt, but by outgrowing the rooms that produce them. The apology you think you need is often a shadow of the affirmation God is about to give. When He stamps your assignment with visible favor, something in you will stop auditioning for acceptance you already have. The knot in your stomach will loosen. Your sleep will deepen. Your creativity will return wearing new clothes. You will notice that the memories that used to sting now inform your compassion without poisoning it. That is what healed authority looks like. You can tell the truth without needing revenge to taste like dessert. Do not be afraid of the spotlight if God is the one turning it on. The old you thought visibility was a risk. The new you recognizes it as stewardship. When platforms open, you will not become a different person. You will become the fullest version of the faithful person you already are. Visibility only corrupts what is already for sale. You are not for sale. You were purchased at a price, and that receipt is stamped in blood. That's why darkness is nervous. It knows you cannot be bought, so it tries to exhaust you into self-sabotage. But your rest has matured. You have learned the Sabbath rhythm of saying no without guilt, of stepping back without fear of missing out, of letting other people's timelines pass without chasing their trains. You don't need every train. You need the right tracks. Listen to the way your name sounds in God's mouth. When He says it, Fear loses its manners and has to wait outside. When he says it, the childhood vow to stay small dissolves. When he says it, the accusations that once stuck to you slide off like rain on oil. God is speaking your name in rooms you cannot enter yet, and those rooms are preparing themselves for your arrival. Contracts are being revised to include your peace clause. Teams are being restructured to protect your integrity. Schedules are being shaped around your health. Think of Joseph, brought from prison to interpret a dream. He didn't have to negotiate the promotion. He simply had to deliver the wisdom he stewarded in confinement. That is you. Your wisdom has weight because it was forged in waiting. Victory is not a metaphor coming for you. It is a measurable experience. You will be able to point to days on the calendar and say, that's when the reversal became undeniable. Bank accounts will testify, reports will change, creative doors will open with less knocking, family patterns will start bending toward peace. But victory will not inflate you, it will anchor you. You will feel taller and lighter at the same time. You will lose the reflex to explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You will bless them and keep moving, because movement is part of your anointing. Stagnation became a false prophecy over your life, but the Lord has broken that word with motion. Even as you listen now, the river under your feet is changing direction in your favor. Let me ask you to participate in your own vindication. This is the call to action that seals the word over you. Speak life out loud where death rehearsed its lines. In your home, bless the rooms. In your car, bless the route. On your laptop, bless the work of your hands. Record a voice memo to your future self saying, "We did not give up. We agreed with God. We walked through the door when it opened." Share this message with someone who needs it, not as propaganda, but as a rescue line. Leave a comment for your community declaring one sentence of faith, not because algorithms need it, but because your agreement writes things in the spirit that the earth then enforces. Subscribe to Hope Again, follow Peace, turn on notifications for the Holy Spirit, which means quieting the feeds that train you to panic. Partner with this word by sowing encouragement where you once sowed complaint. If you must sow money, do so where integrity is the soil. If you must sow time, do so where your purpose is watered. You will be tempted to apologize for how clearly God moves. Resist the urge. Humility is not pretending you're unsure when God has made something plain. Humility is giving the credit away as soon as it arrives, while keeping the responsibility close. Give him the credit, keep the responsibility, and walk. There will be those who rewrite history to pretend they always believed in you. You don't have to correct them. History remembers what it needs to. What matters is that you remain the same person in the dark and in the light. Steady, teachable, generous, no longer running auditions for rooms that don't hold your assignment. As justice unfolds, practice mercy like a craftsperson. Some who opposed you will come quietly with eyes lowered. Give them a gentle road back to relationship if wisdom allows. Others will double down. Bless them from a distance and let God tutor their hearts without your commentary. Your task is to keep your table long and your boundaries clear. You are not a museum of old wounds. You are a garden with fresh fruit. The world does not need another spectacle. It needs steady builders who can carry glory without making it a circus. That is why God chose you. You carry glory like a person who knows it is borrowed. So lift your head. The gavel has already fallen in heaven, and the echo is reaching earth. Let the sound steady you. Let it heal the part of you that feared you would always be the misunderstood one. You will always be different, yes, but you will not always be misread. God is clarifying your silhouette so that even at a distance, people can tell who you are. And you will not hoard this vindication. You will use it like a lamp for others still walking in accusation's shadow. This is your victory, and it is also your assignment. To walk into the public square of your life with the peace of those who know the judge personally. To build without bitterness, to sing without permission, To worship not because you got everything back, but because you were never abandoned in the first place. Take one step forward now. Say thank you before the door swings, and when it does, walk through as if you were born for it, because you were. When you ask why the attacks were so precise, so repetitive, it helps to realize that warfare is rarely random. It is strategic pressure applied to the joints of your assignment. What was threatened most often? Your voice, your timing, your trust. That triangulation reveals the target. Your voice is how your mission travels, your timing is how it multiplies, and your trust is the engine that keeps both moving. If darkness could make you mute, you would self-censor the very wisdom meant to liberate others. If it could scramble your timing, you would release good things in wrong seasons and then misinterpret the lukewarm reception as proof you misheard God. If it could corrupt your trust, you would build fortresses instead of families and call isolation discernment. See how elegantly the plan tries to replace calling with caution. The attacks weren't proof that you're weak. They were proof that you are a high-value corridor in the kingdom's logistics. There is a paradox: you have lived without language. The more surrendered you become, the more dangerous you feel to systems that profit from fear. Surrender looks like vulnerability from the outside, yet it produces a stubborn invincibility within. The person who has yielded outcomes cannot be extorted with them. That's why losses came in clusters, an attempt to herd you back toward control. Control offers the illusion of safety while silently taxing your peace. The kingdom teaches a contradictory physics. What you release returns multiplied. What you clutch rots. The open hand seems weak but receives supply. The clenched fist seems strong but cannot be filled. You learned this the hard way and the holy way, giving away credit and seeing opportunities converge. Loosening your grip on a relationship and watching genuine love breathe again. Ignoring scarcity forecasts and finding that manna still respects dawn. Heaven's economy keeps embarrassing spreadsheets that don't account for favor. Another paradox: elevation invites both celebration and projection. People will read their biography into your testimony because your movement touches their unhealed timelines. Some will project hope. If they rose, maybe I can too. And they will become allies who draw strength from your steadiness. Others will project fear. If they rise, where does that leave me? And they will find fault with your footsteps to justify their immobility. Neither group is really talking about you. They're negotiating with their own narratives in your shadow. Understanding this saves you from both flattery and offense. You are responsible to people, not for their projections. You cannot carry everyone's mirror. You can carry your mission and make gentle room for those ready to exchange their mirror for a window. The psychology behind resistance often hides inside scarcity myths. When a person believes visibility is a pie with limited slices, your light feels like theft. They learn to compete for crumbs, so abundance feels like a rumor invented by winners. Notice how that story produces behaviors: hoarding information, withholding affirmation until it's too late to matter, asking for access without accountability, mistaking proximity for partnership. If you respond with matching scarcity, the cycle locks. If you respond with boundary and blessing, clear nose paired with sincere prayers, the cycle begins to starve. Abundance is contagious, but so is fear. Your task has been to quarantine fear without exiling people, to keep your table open while keeping your oil protected. That's why God trained you in the art of saying, "Not yet," without bitterness, and "no longer," without spectacle. Jealousy is misdirected admiration that refuses apprenticeship. It wants your outcomes without your obedience, your harvest without your seasons of hidden roots. The jealous will try to minimize your cost so they can justify their critique. Don't debate invoices with those unwilling to work your fields. Their psychology depends on a shortened memory. They can remember your breakthrough, but not your breakdown, your platform, but not your plow. Love them anyway, but do not entrust them with the levers of your mission. Trust is not a virtue, it is a stewardship. Jesus loved many, fed thousands, taught crowds, but entrusted the keys to very few, and even those few were tested by fires of misunderstanding and fear. You are not colder for choosing wisely. You are wiser for loving warmly while locking the gate. Then there is the attack you almost missed because it wore holy clothes. Cynicism disguised as discernment. Real discernment is love's eyesight. It chooses truth at a cost to ego. Cynicism is fear's armor. It chooses distance at a cost to joy. Cynicism often arrives after a disappointment we didn't grieve. Because grief felt inefficient, we set concrete where God only asked for a tent. And when the next opportunity came, our concrete mocked its foundation. To break that spell, God led you into slow rooms, Sabbath hours, long walks, conversations without agenda, so your heart could learn to feel without forecasting disaster. Paradox again. Slowing down accelerated you. When your interior velocity dropped, your clarity rose. And clarity is what hell fears most, because a clear person wastes neither worship nor war. Why did the attacks target your health, your sleep, your rhythms? Because mission is sustained by the simplicity of holy habit. Hungry people make expensive decisions. Exhausted leaders trade long-term fruit for short-term applause. You were being discipled by urgency. God re-enrolled you in peace. He taught you that boundaries are not walls. They are rivers' banks that let the water run strong. He reintroduced you to your body as an ally, not an obstacle. He showed you that joy is not extracurricular, it is fuel. So you began to stack small obediences. Hydrate, breathe, move, pray briefly but often. Choose foods that don't lie to your energy. Close the laptop when your soul is shrinking. Every micro-obedience became a micro-exorcism of chaos. No demon can endure a life arranged around presence. Consider another law that looks like contradiction. To keep power, you must give it away. Mentorship doesn't drain authority, it duplicates it. You feared teaching too early would dilute your edge. In truth, articulating your craft sharpened it. When you explained your process to beginners, you noticed what was instinct and what was laziness. Excellence increased not because you tried harder, but because love required clarity. This law unnerves insecure leaders. They hoard secrets and die with them, mistaking mystery for mastery. You are not building a monument to yourself. You are building a road others can use without paying your toll. That's why your storytelling has changed tone. Fewer boasts, more blueprints. Fewer spotlights, more lamplight. You want people to arrive home, not just applaud the journey. The reasons behind the attacks also live in geography. Every mission has territories, industries, neighborhoods, family lines, where old words were spoken and never revoked. You felt resistance spike at certain thresholds, not because you were out of order, but because you were confronting squatters who mistook longevity for deed. Addictions that traveled through generations, ideologies baptized as culture, patterns of betrayal marketed as how we survive here. Your presence introduced a new ecosystem. Clean agreements, honest pricing, Sabbath in businesses that worship productivity, counseling in communities that numbed pain with bravado, tenderness among men taught that softness is danger, ambition among women taught that leadership is rebellion. The territory protested, as all systems do, when confronted with reform, but territory also learns. It watches for consistency. When your behavior remained congruent with your confession, the land began to cooperate. The office got brighter, the home felt safer, the team laughed more honestly. This is spiritual urban planning, building streets where anxiety once wandered without signage. Now connect it all to your soul's assignment. You were not saved to be safe. You were saved to be sent. Your mission is not a job title or a marketing niche. It is the method by which God's character gets local in your lifetime. That's why you feel restless in places that demand performance without transformation. Your spirit wants to see faces change because presence touched them, wants to see organizations repent without shame and then flourish, wants to see families rewrite their holidays with gentleness, wants to see money behave like a servant instead of a god. You are allergic to spectacle because your mission is formation. You'd rather build a quiet cathedral of healed people than a noisy festival of unhealed fans. You carry a specific signature. You make courage feel practical. With you, faith does not float. It walks, budgets, schedules, apologizes, reconciles, drafts policy, designs systems, writes clean code, reads contracts slowly, prays for enemies without deleting boundaries, sings in kitchens, rests on purpose. The world needs that signature because extremes keep failing us. Ecstasy without ethics, systems without soul. Your life stitches both into one garment. This is why the enemy tried to split you in two. Creative you versus disciplined you, spiritual you versus professional you, public you versus private you. Integration is your anointing. Wholeheartedness is your weapon. When you live undivided, you become a tuning fork that steadies rooms simply by being there. So accept that the attacks were, in a way, a crooked compliment. Hell triaged resources toward you because your mission threatens the economy of despair. Every time you choose wonder over cynicism, community over clique, process over spectacle, restitution over reputation, you defund darkness. And every time you worship after loss, you write new case law in the spirit that future souls can cite when their trial begins. Law built on testimony. If they lost everything and still sang, then I can lose this one thing and still breathe. That is legacy, not the social media kind that fades by noon, but the kind that lives in the nervous systems of people who never meet you and somehow feel braver. This is the deep analysis and the deeper comfort. You are not being attacked because you are wrong. You are being refined because you are right on time. The paradoxes that once confused you are now your playbook. Give to keep, slow to accelerate, open to protect, bless to build, entrust to endure, integrate to influence. And when the next test probes your voice, timing, or trust, smile the small, knowing smile of a veteran and answer with the simplest, most subversive sentence in the universe: I still worship. Because that sentence is the fuse of your mission, and its flame has learned by now how to burn underwater. So here we are, standing in the soft afterlight where the air tastes like rain and resolution at the same time, and I want you to feel this without argument. You are the chosen one. Not the accidental survivor of a messy decade, not the runner-up who learned to clap for the winner, not the nameless helper whose worth is measured by how quietly they disappear. You are the one God kept pointing to when the room grew noisy. This one, yes, even with the trembling hands, even with the stubborn doubts, even with the laugh that cracks in the middle because joy still surprises you. You were not rescued merely to tell a nice story. You were rescued because your life is a doorway other people will walk through. Every scar on you has been rehired as signage. Every detour is now a breadcrumb. Every silence you endured has become a chamber where the word faithful echoes long after fear loses its breath. Let this settle into your bones. The future is leaning toward you. The next pages are not blank accidents waiting to be stained by whatever shouts the loudest. They are prepared spaces, appointments already circled in heaven's calendar, faces you will recognize because your spirit has been dreaming them, rooms that will feel uncannily familiar because you prayed their dimensions without knowing the address. I do not promise a path without weather. I promise a guide who wastes no storm. I do not promise applause. I promise fruit. Fruit that tastes like peace in your home. Fruit that looks like teams who tell the truth even when no one is auditing. Fruit that spends like generosity instead of anxiety. Fruit that sings in kitchens and writes policy with clean hands. The work of your hands will grow honest roots. The conversations you feared will become small bridges. The opportunities you lost will send relatives who make more sense for your season. You will sleep and wake and notice that rest is no longer a stranger visiting on weekends, but a roommate who pays the rent on time. Listen to your breath. Slow it down as if you were teaching a child to tie their shoes. That is how God is handling you. Firmly, tenderly, without hurry, unembarrassed by how long some lessons take. You are not late. You are layered. You are not behind. You are built for depth. There will be mornings when the old ache taps your shoulder and asks to rehearse the old story. Let it speak without handing it the microphone. Bless it for trying to keep you safe when the world felt wild. Then turn your face toward the window and greet the day by name. Say it out loud if you must. Today belongs to the Lord, and I belong to the Lord, so we belong to each other. Do not underestimate how reformational those simple sentences are. They set the furniture of your mind in the right rooms and leave no seat for panic. I see you walking into places that once bruised you and noticing they no longer have access to your bloodstream. Boundaries will feel natural, like door frames. Kindness will feel strong, like oak. Laughter will arrive earlier in conversations. Apologies will flow faster. Reconciliation will choose wisdom over nostalgia. Some relationships will return transformed. Others will remain closed without bitterness. Both will be holy. Money will begin to respond to your ethics like a trained river, and you will steer it toward mercy without apology. Work will not devour Sabbath. Sabbath will nourish work. Your body will remember what ease feels like and will stop confusing adrenaline for anointing. Invitations will carry specificity instead of flattery, and you will say yes with clean joy or no with clean peace. Neither answer will require a speech. If your heart is asking for a sign, let's practice the kind that builds muscle instead of superstition. Put one hand over your heart and one hand over your calendar. Say with me, soft but sure, I agree with God. I agree with goodness that outlives outcomes. I agree that my life is not a negotiation with fear, it is a covenant with love. Then do something small and sacred that your future will thank you for. A glass of water placed on your desk before the day runs. A 5-minute walk without headphones. A message of encouragement to the person who crosses your mind. A line in your journal titled Evidence of Mercy and the first entry dated today. These are not rituals of denial. They are anchors that keep your boat from drifting back toward familiar despair. And because agreement wants expression, here is your gentle call to action. Open your mouth and bless your own road. Bless the work of your hands by naming it as service, not performance. Bless your enemies by releasing them from court in your heart, so God can handle what you were never built to prosecute. Bless your community by speaking a sentence of faith where you would have once offered critique. If this message met you in a hungry place, share it with someone who is still rationing hope, not as a slogan but as a hand. Write one line below that your future self can read. On a hard afternoon, I still worship. Turn on the notification bell in your spirit by creating quiet, even for 10 minutes, where the Holy Spirit can whisper logistics. And if you are moved to plant a seed, time, encouragement, resource, plant it where integrity is soil and people are watered, not entertained. You will notice that miracles start looking ordinary. The transfer clears at the right moment and you realize provision is punctual. The conversation you dreaded turns into a doorway because humility arrived early. The idea that used to keep you up at night now lets you sleep because strategy showed up with shoes on. Your house will feel lighter, and not only because clutter has been blessed and released, but because heaviness finally understood it could not rent space from a soul that charges joy for rent. Children will laugh easier in your presence. Strangers will relax their shoulders when you speak. Teams will do better work because you refuse to trade trust for speed. And when old anxiety tries its favorite trick, warning you that the good will end, your spirit will quietly reply, "Goodness may change costumes, but it does not clock out." If you lost everything, would you still worship God? You already answered with your life. You sang while the scaffolding was still up. You gave thanks while the ink was still drying. You forgave before the verdict. You stayed when running would have been fashionable. That is why your future can be trusted with visibility. That is why your name can be carried across tables without breaking. That is why the mantle sits on your shoulders like it was tailored, because it was. Heaven measured you in the night and handed you a garment that doesn't need constant adjustment to look right. Wear it humbly, wear it gladly, wear it for those who don't yet believe clothes like this are made in their size. I bless your next steps with the steadiness of oaks and the flexibility of rivers. I bless your mind to notice nuance without losing wonder. I bless your nights to repair you and your mornings to recruit you. I bless your work to become an honest mirror that reflects God's character into places that forgot what kindness looks like with a backbone. I bless your feet to find the paths prepared and your voice to carry light without turning people into projects. Keep your heart soft and your spine strong. Keep your table long and your oil protected. Keep your humor within reach. It is proof that hope learned to dance. And now we part with a quiet agreement between us. You will keep worshiping, not as a bargain to get things back, but as a way of staying found. I will keep reminding you, when you return, who you are and whose you are. If this word fed you, let it multiply. Speak life, share it, leave your witness. Subscribe your attention to what nourishes your soul, not what drains it. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be at your back. And may the one who called you by name walk at your side in ways so ordinary you can't help but smile. Go gently, go bravely, go with God.